Well, last night we got a coat of about 2 inches of powder. I'm going to be mostly trying to hang out in the areas where I know there's been some bucks that I was hunting this last year. If I can pick up one of those tracks, I might try to go follow it and see what I can learn about those deer and see if there's something that I'm missing. If I can't find one of those tracks, then I'll probably just have to branch out a little bit and see if I can scrounge up a track somewhere else. But I gotta get my daughter to daycare at 7:30, so I'll have to buzz back home real quick for that and get her dropped off, and then I can jump on the track. Alright, with how much the snow has been caving in, it's pretty hard to tell what's what with these tracks. But this looks kind of decent here, and it's all by itself. 3-finger track. That'd be worth going after. My best friend on days like this are these tire tracks, because that's going to be the least amount of snow. Off to the side here, you got almost a foot of snow or more, and so it's really tough to judge a track where all that snow's been caving in. But you want to really focus on these tire tracks, because all of a sudden, look at that, you can see it a lot more. Now this has been snowed in quite a bit, so it's not a good track to get a very good judge on, but it's not a bad way to go though. Found another option here. This is a pretty fresh track. You know, still a little bit brushed in with snow, so it's pretty hard to tell, but all by itself. Oh, now that's a good look at the track right there. You know, usually this time of year, does are grouped up pretty heavy. You know, they like to stick together. So if you're finding a lone track and it's almost New Year, probably a buck. Well, we'll keep going. Well, I just found what I believe is the biggest track so far. We're starting to push up tight to some private land, so it's maybe not the one I'd want to go after for that reason, but a full 3.5 fingers. Dang, that is got some wider dew claws. Oh, that's a pretty decent track. So a little pattern that I'm noticing is that every time I get near a really fresh cut, where all the saplings are, you know, about chest high or shorter, and it's just tons of deer sign crossing the roads. So what that tells me is that late season, if you're not near a fresh clear cut, you're probably not in the game. And all of the deer that I've tracked so far this year have been in those clear cuts where there's low, dense, shrubby brush that they can go in and eat a lot of the buds. They need that woody browse this time of year. And man, I'm seeing the pattern just over and over and over again here when I'm driving. Alright, so I found some feeding sign along the side of the bank here. And if you look, this is where the nose went in. There's no antler marks anywhere. You know, that nose is pretty deep in the snow. It should have pushed in straight there. As you can kind of see, this is a pretty steep bank, so that would have shown. So that's a doe, or it's a buck that's shed its antlers. Boy, that deer's leaving some big punch marks in the snow. Oofed. Let me just check that real quick. Alright, so I found another pretty stinking good track. That looks really fresh. It's walking with a couple other sets of tracks. You got this set of tracks, and that one looks big too. You know, I'm not seeing much for dew claws. If it's a doe, oh yeah, there's dew claws right there. Yep. That's a nice track. That would be worth following, I think. So I had 2 bucks on camera back in this spot right here. One was a really nice looking 3-year-old buck, and the other one was a really mature old slammer. But I never really followed up on him a whole lot. I just didn't really know where he was spending his time at, and I was focusing on some other deer. So if that's him, he's a really cool deer. Well, we'll keep plugging along here. I got a little bit of time left. I got to be back in about an hour and a half. Well, I found a real big track. Big, heavy, wide dew claws, set back about 2 inches. And look at the width and the stagger. It's a wide stance. It's a big deer. Yeah, see them dew claws hanging back? Big, wide track. The stagger is what's so impressive to me. Look at that. 9-inch stagger from outside to outside. Oh boy. So I just followed him in the woods just to see if I found some antler prints. He came back out across the road just a little ways in front of the truck. And he's headed back up into the woods here. Say hello to the deer right in the yard. Yeah, you ready to have fun today?
Yeah.
It's gonna be so fun, huh? Nice track. Let's do this. Here's the first pea spot that I'm finding. It smells like a buck. We'll see. I just walked right into this stuff to feed her on. Nip that butt off and a couple more down there as well. Here we have the first bed. It looks pretty good sized. And some walking tracks exiting this way. We got some tarsal gland pea right here. Yep, it's a buck. Nice track. Good, wide, heavy track. He might be bedded somewhere close from here. The bed's still frozen. The tracks and everything look fresh. So this happened fairly recent, at least after the snowstorm last night. So he's walking along here and he took a little side step and fed on this little pine here. You can see some of the needles down on the ground and a little bit of a tuft of something that fell down, a little bit of snow or something. And here we have a rub. He stood and fed on some of these branches here. He's just kind of wandering from branch to branch out here. Hope you can see right in front of you here. Right on that branch, there's a couple buds nipped off. That's his first time pooping. It looks pretty good size though. That's a nice sized turd. He stood right here for a little bit and ate on some of this brush here. And then he meandered right through that stuff, pretty thick, but he's just kind of going along the edge of it, getting as much food as he can. I mean, a lot of this stuff is green. You can see he's just busted it off. It's all fresh. Really hot sign. His poop is still frozen though from a few steps back. He's really packing on the feed. He is a hungry deer, just chowing down. That's either a doe or a buck that's shed. One of his rubs and his tracks walking right past it. Just came upon one of his beds with walking tracks. The bed looks nice. And then there's poop coming out of it. And it looks pretty fresh. Still frozen. But man, that's way fresh. He might not be too far away. There's dribble marks there, there, and then the main pea spot right there. Crazy close to this deer. Poop is soft. Not like crazy soft, but like I'm able to mush it pretty good. And it's -4 degrees out. He is right here. Well, 10 yards later, here's bounding tracks running that way. I don't know if I boogered him because there's running tracks coming right here, busting through, and it ran right past him, and I think it might have just boogered him all over because of that. So I don't know how bad he'll be boogered, but those bounding tracks might be from that deer that I got video footage of back over there. He's standing right here, and I was coming from this direction, and the wind is blowing like this. So I don't think that my scent would have gotten to him him, so he probably doesn't know what the heck was going on. I'll probably follow him until he stops running, and then maybe see about doing a little calling or something. Gosh, I just wish that he'd stick his nose in the ground so I could figure out if he's still holding antlers, but either way, at this point, I'm pretty committed to tracking this deer and getting close to him. I mean, I got close to him that time. I got real close to him. At one point, when I was back up over there, after I had seen that doe feeding, I had a wind swirl and go straight to the north, but it wasn't far enough over that I could get to him, but that's where that doe boogied and ran past him here. That's also part of the thing that you contend with in a higher deer density area. Sometimes the deer bump each other. I'm going to let it sit for a little bit here and let him relax. It's time to go in after this deer. Giving him about a half hour, so whew, here we go. A little bit of bad news. I've been coming from this way and running tracks here, running tracks there, running tracks there. They're all coming into one spot. It's like barnacles. This is going to be really hard to sort out in this deep snow which deer is which. So I've been following these two sets of running tracks, and they just crossed the snowmobile trail here. And I'm just not convinced that's him. This has gotten super, super tricky. I found at least 7 different sets of bounding tracks running out of here. I don't know which one to even follow. These other ones, when they're running, you can't see nothing, you can't tell. So you have to literally like walk down every single one of them until they start walking. And even then, it's really hard in this deep snow. Super annoying, man. Well, that was an exciting day of tracking. Ended up seeing 3 deer today, so that's the most I've seen while tracking the entire season. Just good to learn a few things about these deer.